Hey everyone, I'm Joe Ferzoco.
And I'm Chris Ferzoco. Today we're talking about market statistics, and we're going to look at the second quarter of 2024. We're going to compare that, Joe, against the first quarter of 2024.
Yep. Absolutely. Hey, and this is your first time to the channel and you like what you hear, please subscribe below, tap that bell for instant notifications, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You'll be the first to get the most up-to-date market information here at the shore, as well as happenings, things going on down here at the shore, our Jersey Shore, Veterinary Market, Longport, Ocean City, Sea Isle, Summers Point, Strathmere, Avalon, Stone Harbor, North Wildwood, Wildwood Crest, West Wildwood, Diamond Beach, Cape May, North Cape May, Lower Township, Cape May Courthouse, Middle Township, Upper Township, and Memora. Chris, take it away.
So again, we're looking at market statistics. So what are we looking at? We're going to look at the overall sales value of properties in each of the towns. We're going to look at the number of properties that sold in the second quarter. We're going to look at the number of properties that came on the market. And then we're also going to look at the sale price versus the actual list price of properties, Joe, here in the given area. So I'm going to start in Ocean City. So the overall sales price, actually, Joe, dropped by 16%. Actually, it went from 1.4 down to 1.17. So we actually had a fairly big drop from second quarter into first quarter, especially with the fact that second quarter naturally is our spring market. It's our go time, if you will. And so it's kind of a little surprising that prices dropped by that 16% there. So naturally something we'll continue to monitor. When we jump over the number of properties that actually had came on the market, we actually saw a nice jump. It actually jumped by 11%. We had 332 properties come on the market in the second quarter. So that's a nice jump. We actually also, Joe, in the number of properties that sold, we had another jump, only about 4.5%. And when we talk about the number of properties that sold in our videos, we always like to reference the ones. These are the ones that closed. So they're no longer under contract. They're completely transferred over. They have closed. They're off the market. So we had 4.5% increase there. Typically, those are the homes, Joe, as you know, that go into contract 30, 45, 90 days in advance. As for the overall sale price versus list price, we actually had a slight jump, went up to 97% from 95%. So that's a good deal there. Yep, getting a little bit more than for what you're asking for.
Sure.
All right, now down in Sea Isle City. Those numbers actually are the exact same when you look at the overall sale value. Okay. We actually did not really have much of a move at all. It's held steady at $1.6 million. Now, for the number of properties that came on the market, we had a huge jump. We actually went up 56%. So we actually had 61 properties come up for sale. Only 39 had come on in the first quarter there. And when you look at the number of properties that sold, we actually had a big decrease. Actually, we had it dropped 33%. We went from 52 down to 35.
Wow.
Now, Joe, it's really interesting. You and I like to talk about, well, how are we doing with inventory? We're seeing increase, decrease, and so forth. What I noticed in Sea Isle was if you take the first two quarters, you add them together, we had the same number of properties virtually come on the market that had actually sold. So that just means, folks, we had 91 come on the market in the first two quarters, and we had 96 actually sell in the first two quarters, which means no inventory is coming on the market. It's not increasing.
Right.
It's just staying
There's
at
no
the
blocks.
same.
We're not building any blocks here. We're not stacking
None whatsoever. Right.
Yep.
We're not. There's no increasing. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that you're really seeing that one to one. I mean, nothing's moving. Overall sales value. List price to sale price. Stayed the exact same. We're sitting at just about 96% in the first two quarters here in Sea Isle.
Very good, very good. Well, let's move down the Parkway a little bit here, Chris, and so we're going to jump into the Wildwoods. Let's start in North Wildwood. So when we're comparing again the second quarter to first quarter, we had a 9% decrease in North Wildwood, and your overall average sale price for the second quarter was about $612,000. That was a 9% decrease from the first quarter. When we look at the number of properties that came onto the market, first quarter, second quarter, identical. 110 properties in the first quarter, 110 in the second. And we look at the number of properties that sold in the second quarter, that actually was a jump of about 21%. We had 71 total closings in the second quarter in North Wildwood. List price to sale price the same. They were both 97%. When you're looking at the overall market list price to sale price for North Wildwood. Going into Wildwood, again, another decrease in your average sale price from the second quarter to the first quarter. Again, as Chris had mentioned before, a little odd in that the spring market is our strongest market, as far as the time of the year, whereas January, February, March are the first quarter, the winter doldrums per se. But we had another decrease in the second quarter on your average sale price. It was a 29% drop, down to $507,000, your average sale price in Wildwood. The amount of properties that came on the market, that was a decrease, a big number there. I mean, we dropped almost 45%, only 60 total properties coming on the market. in the second quarter. And when you look at the number of properties sold, that was a big number. That was a big decrease as well. It was 12%. Only 56 properties sold in Wildwood. So again, much like we were talking about with Seattle, we had 60 properties come on the market in Wildwood in the second quarter. We had 56 sold. No stacking of inventory there. Going into Wildwood Crest, one of the few boroughs in the Wildwoods, they had a 9% increase in your average sale price for the second quarter. It was about $739,000. Number of properties that came onto the market, again, that was another decrease. 61 properties coming on the market, 9% decrease in Wildwood Crest. And the number of properties that sold, that was an increase. Jumped up 38%. We had about 61 properties selling there in the second quarter. And your list price to sale price, pretty identical, 98%, for there. So again, this is 3 boroughs in the Wildwoods. And the first quarter compared to second quarter had a decrease in the amount of properties that came on the market. So inventory not necessarily moving too much there. Looking at Diamond Beach and Sea Point Village, in the second quarter, we had a 17% increase in the average sale price. $938,000 was the average sale price. There, we had a 45% increase. And while that's a big number, 45%, we had 22. It's because we only had 12 come on in the first quarter. Inventory, there's not a lot of properties coming on and going off the market in Sea Point Village, Diamond Beach. Over the last 2 years, we've seen historically. When we look at your number of properties sold, we had a 64% increase, 14. So again, not a lot happening there, but 100% list price to sale price for the second quarter. So you're listing the property for X amount of $938,000. You're getting $938,000 there in Diamond Beach, Sea Point Village.
Yeah, sure.
And finally, when we're looking in like Cape May, so your average sale price, it was an increase, a 26% increase in the second quarter. $1.33 million was the average sale price in Cape May. We had a big increase in our inventory. 37% came on the market as opposed to 26 in the first quarter. The number of properties that closed, we had a 51% increase. We had 21 properties selling in Cape May in the second quarter, and your list price to sale price was the same, 96%. Of course, in the second quarter, you started at 1.33, and in the first quarter, you started at 986. So about a $400,000 difference there. So hey, that's a win-win for you there. Chris, I know you want to jump offshore a little bit, so talk about that.
Yeah, primary home market still moving pretty strong here, Joe, in the given markets that we're in here. In Upper Township, we actually saw a significant increase in the overall sales price. And I will say Upper Township seems to really jump up and down a lot. I mean, meaning by big jumps. I mean, we went from $331,000 as the average sales price to $664,000. So it really is a matter of like what is selling in that township.
Yeah.
So it's really tough to track and just monitor any consistency in what's going on in Upper Township that way. Now, for the number of properties that actually came on the market, we actually had a slight decrease. I didn't do these in percentages. The overall number went from 60 to 57.
Right.
Okay, and that's what came on the market. And for what had sold, it actually, Joe, was it went from 38 up to 41. Okay, so you came down 3, you went up 3. Right. So just ironically enough, like Seattle City a minute ago, Upper Township had the same number of properties come on the market in the first 2 quarters as what sold in the first 2 quarters of 98, respectively. So no actual inventory movements in Upper Township on the increasing side of that. So, but yeah, we did have actually 41 properties actually sell in that second quarter. As for the overall value, actually did drop by 3%, dropped down to 95%. So, which is interesting, as you always like to point out, we had a significant increase of $300,000, but you got 3% less. Okay, I'll take the $300,000 increase it this time.
Yes.
Now, for Summers Point, Summers Point actually had a 4% increase in the overall sale price, went from $424 up to $440. So just kind of really staying steady here in Summers Point, really kind of remaining in those $400,000, which is fantastic for that area there. As for the number of properties that sold, we had a big increase, 18% increase in the number of properties that sold in the second half, jumped from 61 to 72, which right now is that's a pretty strong market there in Summers Point. Properties are coming up, properties are selling. We had 41 properties sell first quarter, 37 sold in the second quarter, but that's still, you're seeing that same amount of properties really kind of coming on the market and selling respectively in that town as well. You did see an increase also in your sale price versus list price, went from 95 to 97%. So you actually, not only did you see an overall sales price go up, but you also saw your percentage go up
Sure
as
thing.
well. So again,
Yeah.
win-win there for in Summers Point as well. So,
100%.
Yep, going great in Summers Point.
Most definitely. Cape May Courthouse, another offshore market that we do cover here. So we had a 5% decrease in the average sale price in Cape May Courthouse for the second quarter. Pretty much 400,000 was your average sale price for a courthouse. As I said, it was a 5% decrease. Compared to the first quarter. Inventory levels jumped up. We had 74 properties come on the market in the second quarter, was a 26% increase. The amount of properties that sold was 36, which was actually an increase of 19%. So again, that's really the only area that we really sort of saw this 2-to-1 ratio. We had 79 come on for the whole quarter, and we only had 36 sell. So really the only town in our area that we saw any kind of differential there in the amount of properties listed, number of properties sold. And then your average list price to sale price, 98% in the second quarter compared to 96. So it was kind of a wash. While it was a 5% decrease, you got more for your money, 98% as opposed to 96. Lastly, in North Cape May, your average sale price jumped up 1%. So it was $534,000 was your average sale price in the second quarter, $526,000 in the first quarter. So again, over $500,000 back-to-back quarters in North Cape May. Number of properties that came on the market, we only had 29, and we had 22 sell. So again, just like every other town, you're pretty much in that 1-to-1. Number of properties that came on the market was a decrease. The properties that's selling was 22, which was an increase of 23%. The list price to sale price identical, 97% for that. So that sort of covers our second quarter versus the first quarter. What are we kind of seeing here, Chris, with anything?
Everything's kind of continuing on the same pace, the same path that it has been now for virtually years at this point in time. I mean, this market for us here at the Shore does not seem to really be changing or in any way. I mean, you're kind of seeing prices up and down, values up and down. You're seeing the same amount of properties selling that are coming on the market over time. Like if you took, like we said, like you take the first quarter and second quarter, and then you say, okay, what came on, what sold? I mean, the numbers are there. So I will say this, though. I think what's really important to understand is that there is inventory coming on the market. Sales are happening. So for both sellers and buyers, it's positive. If the properties were sitting and getting stagnant, that's not good for sellers, and it's not really good for buyers either. That means they're not seeing value. The great news is that both, they're both buying. Buyers are buying, sellers are selling, right? So properties come on the market, they're selling, which means buyers are seeing the value in the property and they're seeing value in the prices that these properties are being offered at. So those are all positive signs that this market is going to continue. It's going to stay positive. If you're looking to get into the real estate market, it's positive signs for you in the long run. Not going to all of a sudden turn around and bottom out on you or anything like that. These trends look like they're going to continue here. Certainly, I think our projections are like this, at least through the rest of this year.
That's
what we're really looking at.
We certainly can see that for sure. And Chris, you always kind of touch on it with regards to being your real estate information provider. The Ferzoco group. Chris and myself, we've been doing this 18, 20 years now. We can be your real estate resource down here at the Shore. Not necessarily what's going on in your city, in your state, is necessarily what's going on down here at the Shore when we talk about inventory levels and things to that nature. And folks, if you're looking to sell, looking to purchase, whether it's this week, next month, next year, 6 months from now, please feel free to reach out, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email. It'll be our pleasure to help you in all of your real estate needs, whether you are looking to buy or sell down here at the Shore. So, Chris, that's going to wrap up our second quarter versus first quarter 2024. So until next time, we'll see you at the beach.